Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and don't mind Starlight is one of those days. Starlight has a red shirt that says hate less, love more, but then it's getting cool, so Starlight just threw this sweater on. I haven't wore this in a long time. So anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you can give my videos a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say, hello, Starlight. Or, if there's something that you would like me to talk about, just leave a comment down below and let me know. And also, you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A slug? What the heck, Starlight? You're sharing your videos with a slug? Yeah, why not? Slugs? Yeah, you could share my videos with a slug, and also with a frog. And you can also check out my playlist and follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So Starlight loves all of you, and I want to just say a huge big thank you to all of you. And Starlight already tried to make this video. Well, actually didn't try, I already did. But what happened is Starlight accidentally deleted her video. So today I'm actually gonna remake a video that I just recently made, and it's so important because we all get busy in life. Yeah, and a lot of stuff happens. And so what I made a few days ago is I made a video about being grateful, and slowing down. Put the brakes on a little bit here. We really do. We really need to slow down and really, think the universe, God, or whatever name you have, is to say thank you. When's the last time you said thank you? A lot of times when things are going good, we kind of forget all about God and stuff like that. But when shit hits the fan, bam, that's when now we're going to go, it could be something with your family, health issues. And then that's when you find people that start reaching out to the universe or God, asking for help. But you really, you want to be grateful for all the things in your life right now, all the time. Like I do, I have a notebook with me. It's my, somebody gave me the beautiful book. And you know what? I was grateful to receive that beautiful star notebook. And it was a sweet lady that's on my YouTube channel. She's one of my subscribers, and her name is Hannah. And she was so sweet, and she surprised me. I didn't even know she did that. It was a simple little thing, but it made my day. It really did. And that notebook, I ended up turning it into my grateful book. I am grateful for whatever I'm grateful for that day. And I know I could do a whole lot more than 5, but I do 5 a day in my notebook. And we need to do that. We really need to be grateful. How about your children's health? How about your health? When's the last time you said, God, universe, whatever the name is that you have, for something that's, like there's something out there that is more powerful than us or any human being. So, when is the last time you said thank you for my health? You don't want to take your health for granted. I do. I am grateful for my body. I am grateful for my skin, my hair, all my body parts. I got all my body parts. But guess what? Not everybody does have their body parts. I just met a man the other day at a restaurant. He didn't have a hand. He had a hook. He lost his hand somehow or another. I didn't ask him that, but if he was willing to tell me that, I don't like to pry in people's lives, but he didn't have a hand, and there he was. He was a sweet man. He actually had a beautiful peace jacket, and he's been doing that for a long time, is, like spreading love and peace out in the world. And he even had a beautiful cup, and I noticed it like that really quick. I'm like, I love your cup, like and he brings his own coffee cup because that had a message on there. He had it, he brings it out with him at the restaurant. And I thought that was amazing that he does that, is to, like to send love and peace out in the world. And I put his back of his jacket on one of my YouTube videos recently because I was like, wow, Starlight would love a jacket like that with a big, huge, beautiful, flowery peace sign on the back and all these colors. It was beautiful. And I asked the man, I'm like, I felt kind of awkward, but hey, can I take a picture of your peace sign on your back? So now I have that, So we need to be grateful for our children and their health. If you got kids, like anything can happen at any time, no matter what. How about how about your safety on the road? You know how many times I could have gotten a car accident or got shot at, and that happened. That really seriously happened. I had people, I got to see the guy in the vehicle and my window got shot out at, as I was on the road. Because there is a force out there, man. If you're living for God, if you're out there putting your neck out on the line like I am, there's another force out there that don't want you to do what you're doing, So this is, you might think I'm crazy about saying this, but I do know that there's one person on my YouTube channel that knows that is for a fact, But we've been brainwashed and lied to our whole life that we just believe everything the media says and, the news people say, or what the school system says, or even what the church people say, is that we got to let go of all those things and really start all over as far as what do you believe. So you gotta be grateful for, how about having a job that you go to where you get money? And I know a lot of people, throughout my life, who don't really have a relationship with God, where they believe that they are doing everything on their own. They're the ones that, they didn't need God, and that they got a big lesson to learn in life, is if you think you can go through life without God in your life and having a relationship with God, and, you need to have someone out there on your side to help you out. And there's a lot of people I've met on this journey. There's people that has helped me on this journey. They said, you know what? I don't believe in what you're doing. That's not, I've actually have talked to one man a while back, and I got him to turn around a little bit. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know what I was about. And when he said, he thought I was going to church and trying to get people to church. And then I said, well, sir, and I got talking with him. And so I got his whole attitude to change, that, yeah, I have a relationship with God, but no, I'm not trying to get people to church. That is, because I've been there, done that, I graduated, and if you're going to church, hey, go to church, that is what you're doing. But if you're going to church and, your freedoms are being taken away, and your free will is being taken away, and they're controlling you, well, then you're in a cult church. So, they can't force anything on you, but there's a lot of them out there that will keep on repeating the same messages, trying to control you. So that is something you got to figure out on your own, whether you want to go to church or not. But are you grateful for the house that you live in? There's people like Starlight. She does not have a house that she's living in. And I had an apartment before this. I had a whole bunch of stuff in that apartment. I lived there since 2017 all the way up until 2023. When I moved in there, I didn't have a couch. I didn't have a bed. And wow, I worked my ass off with my job. I was grateful that I had a job, my own cleaning business, and I was able to later on get a bed. Actually, it's because of COVID time is why I got that bed. They were passing money out, and Starlight said, hey, I could use a bed. So they did. They helped me out, and I ended up getting a bed. I got a free couch. So I was grateful for, all the furniture I had in my apartment. I was grateful for, because it's like the universe was, people would throw it out on the street and all kinds of goodies out there. Starlight was gathering it like candy, and I had carload after carload that I would drop off at my brother's house that is no longer here. And, I donated all that stuff, most of that stuff. My bed, it was left there, It was like $500 and something, comfortable bed. But you know what? I was just borrowing it for a period of time and, let other people do whatever they want with that bed. So are you grateful for the things that you have in your house? Are you grateful for the bed that you sleep on? Are you grateful for hot running water? Some people, they think I'm on a vacation out here. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm not on vacation, but I am living a dream. I am living a dream because I am free. I am free more than other people are. I am not a slave to the system. I refuse to be a slave. So, I don't have running hot water. I don't have a bathroom to freshen up. So if you think I'm on vacation, come and join me. Come and join me. Well, you'll have fun with Starlight, and you could tell me, is this vacation or not? No, I'm out here because this is what God sent me out here to do. And if Christians, most of the Christians will understand this because they read their Bibles, but a lot of people that didn't read their Bibles, they would have no clue to what God is about and what journeys, what God will do to some people to help other people out. And this is how you find out who you are, is by letting go of everything, letting go of your family, letting go of all your material stuff, and finding yourself alone with yourself. So Starlight is not on vacation. This is God sending me out here, and I don't know, where God's going to send me next. It's not up to me. I'm like, hey, God, wherever you want to send me, that's where I'm going. Because I want to be, used of God. And so are you grateful that there's a God out here that helps you, that you can talk to God at any time? You got to say thank you all the time, every single day. Crazy stuff happens on this journey with me, and I am grateful that I've been protected. Starlight is from New York, Albany, New York, and I drove all this way by myself in unknown areas, not knowing what to expect from one turn to the next, and I have been protected this whole journey. Like I said, somebody shot at my car at the window, the whole window shattered. The glass hit me in my face. I actually had to literally pull glass off. It just stuck. Not a lot, but enough to, tell you what, wake your ass up. So, don't take anything like that for granted, don't wait until when shit is happening, then you go to, because, God is beautiful, God is powerful, but it doesn't mean that, if you only, and this is what a lot of people do to other people, is that, they won't go visit them, they don't call them up, but when shit happens, then they like, hey, I'll call up, I'll just say Joe, and like, hey Joe, how you doing? And they'll act, it's all an act, it's all fake, it's all not real. And then they'll act like they really care, like, hey, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, the last time I seen you was like 5 years ago, hasn't seen Joe in 5 years, hasn't called him, hasn't visited him, hasn't checked up on him to see how he's doing. But what they remember is that, hey, Joe helped me out a long time ago, and now, is shit, I could use some help, and Joe was the only one at that time that helped you. This is how God works. This is how I got where I am. God used the people. God put it on the people's heart for them to help me out. God doesn't have to put it on Joe's heart to help you out this time. Ouch, I know. Whatever happens is meant to happen. If somebody blesses you, that's God. If you're trusting and believing and you ask for help, and then God says, okay, you're believing, you're trusting, you're not letting fear control you. I see that you're doing work. I see that you're actually trying your best. I see that you're struggling, but you're still working at it. And you know what? Because I see what you're doing, I'm going to work on this person's heart. It's God that's doing the blessing. even though there's a person, God's in all of us. This is how this works. That's why I get people on my YouTube channel judging me and criticizing me for what I'm doing and where I am and acting like I'm on vacation. But you know what? It's God that is blessing me through the people. And if, you know what? God doesn't have to use the people, because God is in all of us, is that God doesn't have to. If I am not grateful every day for what God already has blessed me with or protected me with, you know what? I could sit there and beg and ask God for help, and God doesn't have to do anything. I could go and ask people for help, and then God's like, no, she's not grateful for all, look at all the stuff I gave her. Look at all the things, the people that I put in her life. God doesn't have to bless you and help you out. Just like that guy Joe. Joe could be saying, like, God could use this guy Joe and get him to speak through his own mouth and say, you know what? I haven't seen you. And I'll just say it's Sam. Sam is like a guy. Sam is asking Joe for help now because the only thing he remembered is Joe helped him out 5 years ago. But Sam hasn't called Joe to spend any time with Joe or anything like that. Sam is treating Joe like a bank, like, hey, I could just go to Joe when I need money, he's the bank, my bank account, I can, and now Joe's like, God is going to speak through this man, Joe, and say, you know what? I haven't seen you in so long. Joe has been trying to get a hold of Sam, but Joe has been Sam has been ignoring Joe. Hasn't even been, Joe reached out and said, hey, you want to hang out? And Sam didn't even send any comments back, no messages back to Joe. And so many times out of 5 years, Joe tried to call up Sam, and Sam didn't even answer his phone. So Joe's like, maybe he got his number changed, And then he find out when Sam and Joe gets together, he's like, hey, I have sent you messages in the last 5 years. I thought maybe we could go fishing because I know you like fishing. And, Joe just wanted a really good friend. Joe just wanted it, he thought that maybe Sam was, could be a good friend because they both like fishing. But you know what? Sam only comes around when he wants something. That's the only time Sam comes around is when he wants something. He ignored Joe all this time. So God's going to actually put it on Joe's mind and heart and say, you know what? I would like to help you, but, I feel like, you know what? You're just using me right now. You're not really, you don't really, I thought you had a new phone, but, you got the same phone and the same number, so you've been ignoring me all this time, all these years, 5 years, you've been ignoring me. I have reached out to you thinking that maybe we can go, camping, bring your family along, we could get together. So I'm not good enough all those 5 years. So you know what? I'm sorry, but you know what? It would not be wise for me to help you out right now because you haven't been grateful for, I helped you out a long time ago. You lost your job. You had a family. You have a family. I was there. I helped you. I helped you and your family out because you know what? If it wasn't that you had a wife and kids, I would have just let you go on your own merry way. But I seen that you had kids and you had a wife. And I didn't want them to go without because you lost a job. And whether you lost a job for a good reason or maybe you weren't even showing up, it didn't matter. I just wanted to help the kids and your wife out and yourself out. And this is how God can be with us, is if you're not grateful when, all the time, I am grateful. I say thank you. There's times on this journey here, I have cried. I have cried tears of joy. I have been shocked. I just, I gotta be grateful when God just pours it on me and helps me out. And not to think that, it's just going to come, that, like, being ungrateful and just expecting that it's just going to come when I want it or I need it. No. If I'm not doing the work inside of me, if I'm not, working on myself, and I'll have to tell you, on this journey, it is tough. There's things that I let go of, and I'm glad I let go of. But there's times on this journey that, when you have hard times and when you things get rough, a lot of people go through this, is that they're like, man, because if you used to drink or smoke marijuana or even cigarettes, any of those three, or even any kind of drug, sometimes, you could have a bad day and say, man, shit, I could use a glass of wine, or I could use a can of beer, or I could use a cigarette, or I could use man, right now my nerves are all rattled. I smell marijuana everywhere I go. I see people drinking alcohol everywhere I go. I see people smoking cigarettes at, Starlight's like, no. So because I am being strong, and I'm not going back to those addictions and those things that, once had me, God sees all the work that I'm doing. God sees how I'm not going in and hanging out with people that are going to pull me down. God sees how I'm learning how to protect my energy. God sees that I'm eating healthy and working on myself. God sees that I get exercise. God sees that I'm out hiking. God sees that I'm learning to love myself. I'm learning to forgive myself. I'm learning to accept people. I'm learning not to judge people. So when God sees that you're doing all these things, not that God thinks, is going to see that you're perfect. We're not here to be perfect. But you got to be grateful for all the stuff that goes on. Be grateful even the days that things are not going out good, but you're learning a lesson. Well, that was a lesson. I did things in the wrong order. I put the carriage before the horse kind of day. There's days if Starlight puts the carriage before the horse day, it's a mess. Nothing works out good. So you have to be grateful all the time. Say it out loud. Say, God, I am grateful. Thank you for my family. Thank you for the health. Thank you for my car that is running. It doesn't have to. Thank you for, I have a phone. Thank you for, nature. Thank you for, the weather. Thank you for running water. Thank you for a stove. Starlight has not. I love brown rice, but I don't have a stove to cook brown rice. Be thankful that you have a stove where you can cook your stuff. You might take that for granted, thinking, hey, I pay the rent, but you know what? That could all easily be taken away. Easily. So be grateful that you have a bed to lay onto, that you could stretch out your legs. Be grateful that, that you have a house and that you got a roof over your head. You don't have to have that. There's people that live out in the streets, they don't have that. And how do you treat people that are living on this? How do you treat homeless people, huh? God sees all of it. If you can help somebody out and you don't help them out when you can, and you lie to that person, you say, no, I'm broke, you will be broke, because you're saying that, you're bringing that into existence. So if somebody comes to you and they ask you for help and you have it, or you got so much more than them, and you can't open up your heart and bless other people, God doesn't have to bless you. That is how that goes. When God blesses me, God expects me to bless other people, and that's what I've done. If I just get blessed by God with food or money or whatever, and I don't help other people out when they ask me for help, you know what? The next time I ask God for help, it's going to be a bitch. I'll be like, how come, all the other time it worked? How come God's not helping me out? I've been asking all these people to help me out with gas, but now nobody wants to help me out because God's teaching me a lesson. Not that that's happening because I know better, is to be grateful. I love you so much, and be grateful for people out there like Starlight and other people on YouTube that are putting videos out so you can learn. So be grateful. Respect those people. Not that they're perfect, but they're out there. They're putting their asses out there. God is using those people, whether you like it or not. God will use imperfect people to get a message through. God can use whoever God wants to use. So don't ever take it for granted. Always be there, love and support those people that are out there, because they do. There's shit that goes on that you have no clue that goes on behind YouTubers. A lot of them. I know my mentor has gone through shit. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say, hi, Starlight. And also, you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A leopard, and a zebra. Plus, you can check out my playlist, and you can also follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Digma Starlight. I love you all. Be grateful that you woke up today. Be grateful today is a new day. Be grateful that you can, you can rest easily. Not everybody who goes to bed can actually have a good night's sleep. There's people that have back pains. There's people that have pain all the time and nothing, the doctors can't help them out. Be grateful that you're not in that shape. I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and